Greetings, Weblings, and welcome to the 2026 Collection Tour. Over here we have my glass display cases, which holds the bulk of my collection. And these cases were from IKEA. And I put the custom knobs from Home Depot on there. I think they had like white bland knobs to begin with, and I like the bedazzled jeweled knobs. And now I'm going to take you through shelf by shelf this grand and glorious corner of my room. Starting with the right top shelf, we have my Rise of the Beast / miscellaneous shelf. Like, it started as the Rise of the Beast / Bumblebee movie shelf, and then my shockwaves overflowed, and now I've got shockwaves over here too. But anyway, I have pieces from 3-0 and Yellow Park. There's Yellow Park Scourge. This is not the AMK one, this is the original. I actually have both, and this guy lives with the Rise of the Beast collection. Back there is, I think it's Bingo Toys, Waveman. And then 3-0 Bumblebee, Blitzwing, and RC there in the corner. And then Barricade kind of made his way up in here. He was from that War for Cybertron Siege show on Netflix. But I thought he fit with these guys, so I put him up here. Here on the shelf below is some Beast Wars / Rise of the Beast figures. I got Masterpiece, Black Arachnia. I have the original Transmetal Megatron, which was a childhood toy that I had to have back. I lost the original one in the tornado that I went through in 2003. And when I restarted my Transformer collection, I had to have him. So very fortunate that I found one, and it's still in good condition. And that little Rhinox, I despise Funko Pop anything, but this Rhinox was an absolute exception. He is so cute. Looks like a rhino pony. And then over here in the corner, I have my animated figures, except Shockwave. The Shockwaves live in the Shockwave Soundwave shelf that I'm about to show you. But the majority of my animated figures I sadly and stupidly parted with, and I regret it. But these 4, and the Shockwaves, of course, I could never part with. But we'll see if I rebuild my animated collection over time. And of course, you gotta have the Littlest Pet. You will find that there's Littlest Pet shops scattered across my collection because I think they look so cute with the bots and with the Shinkies. This shelf I lovingly refer to as my Wave shelf, even though, as you can tell, it is predominantly purple. There aren't a lot of Soundwave toys. I think I need to step up my game with Soundwave toys. But this is my animated Shockwaves and their Shinky girlfriends and their Littlest Pets. And I have not Yellow Park, Blockies, Soundwave and Shockwave from 1. And then there's TFP Shockwaves, Cyberverse Shockwaves. There's the movie Shockwave, Dark of the Moon. Here's Blocky Shockwave, G1. Iron Factory. I think those are New Age. And then some of your Hasbro. Let me see, are they Siege? I can't remember which line this is from, but they were just so cool. I had to have the repaints. Here is a Baver shelf. I have an oversized KO Blackout based on the Studio Series, which is there in front, but with better hands. I don't have the Masterpiece Blackout yet. That's on my list. Blackout was my very first favorite Transformer when I got back into Transformers in 2007. Cheetor was my first favorite from the 90s, but Blackout was definitely the one. And then here we have Masterpiece Jazz, who looks out of place, but he is with this Barricade, Masterpiece Barricade. They are lovers, so he is totally safe from everybody. And they got their little bot donut friend. These kitties I will get to in a minute, but they do not belong to them. They belong to Bone Crusher. Then there's the new edition, the YOLO Park AMK Pro Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, who I think he needs to be just a little bigger to fully fit in with these guys, but he's a good stand-in. He looks great with the rest of the figures. There is Leader Class Starscream and his Shinky friend, Crystal, as I call her. There's Long Haul. And my very first toy of the 2007 collection, that is Barricade holding his little donut. And there's Scorponok that came with the KO oversized Blackout. And over here on the far left is the Bone Crushers and all of their kitties. It's a fan headcanon that I have that Bone Crusher hates everything except his cats. And if you watched last year's collection tour, you will know the story of this poor, broken Bone Crusher. Someday I will fix him. This is one of my favorite shelves. This is the Jazz shelf. And you will see that this spot here is pretty empty. It's to make room for the 3-0 Jazz, movie Jazz, that's coming out sometime this year. And my best friend made this. And let me see, these were the robot heroes from the movies. That was a robot replica Jazz. The Studio Series, I believe, of the movie Jazz. I don't remember what line that is, but it was the best looking movie Jazz that we got. Well, no, I take that back. The Masterpiece Above with Barricade. That one was the one. There's a lot of third-party Jazzes, some deformed Jazz. I don't know what that's from. Have a random Littlest Pet Shop penguin hiding out with all the black and white. And animated Jazz, of course. And in my opinion, you can never have too many Jazzes, so this shelf will probably be added to as I find more Jazzes to collect. This is another Bayverse shelf. I say that, but I also have my Onslaughts in here because I think they fit with these Bayverse guys. And Tomahawk the Autobot is in here because in my universe, Autobots and Decepticons coexist. I have like a Toy Story-esque thing going with my toys, and they all have unique personalities. And there's more Shinkies and more Littlest Pets. And a random Avatar figure. I loved the Dire Horse in the very first James Cameron Avatar film. Had to have the toy. and it belongs to her and her sister, who was on the other Baver's shelf, the blonde. But yeah, big fan of Baver's. This Starscream here back in the corner is Deep Space Starscream. I will never forget. I got him on a Friday the 13th, 2008. And like, he was the greatest thing that happened to me in that time period of my life. I loved him so much, and I still do to this day. And here on the bottom shelf is a Shinky room, and it's got quite a few of the girls hanging out in there with their little bedroom set up and their little lounge area. I absolutely adore dollhouse furniture, miniatures, and I love posing my toys with little setups that look like they are living their best Toy Story life. So if you remember the Buzo Shinky line, that's where these girls are from. It was a game, and then I think there was a short anime that came out about it. But I'm not a big anime fan, and so I just liked the girls. I liked the armor that they all had, and the different looks that they had. So I collected them, but I couldn't tell you anything about their lore or whatever. Moving now to the middle bookcase section of the shelves. This is my Dragon Sheen shelf. I am obsessed with Dragon Sheen. It's probably my favorite Pusheen. And anytime I see something Dragon Sheen related, I have to buy it. I love her so much. Him, her, whatever. I just love Dragon Sheen. This pillow basically sums up how I feel about my collection. That's why I wanted to put it up here in the shelves, because that's how I feel every time I see my collection. I just light up the rainbows and stars, and everything just feels so right in the universe. So that's why the random happy, hearty rainbow pillow. This is my orange shelf. I love Rung from More Than Meets the Eye, the comics. And it started with this custom weave former Rung plushie. And then she also did a kitty former for me. And then Shattered Needle did the little pillow former Rung back in the back. And oh my goodness, I feel so bad. I cannot remember for the life of me who the artwork is. I'm trying to see, like, I believe it's Sarah Stone that did that Rung, but I will find out and put a text somewhere over here about who actually drew that lovely art. And that is the third party Mastermind Creations Rung toy. And some miscellaneous orange bots and littlest pets, just to go with the orange Rung theme. We need to add things to this shelf, but this is my Megastar shelf, or maybe just one of them. No, this is the cover, the Devastation cover. I don't think I've actually read that comic, but I saw this cover, this issue in a comic book store, and I was like, oh my god, I have to have that, because I don't know what the intention behind it is, but it looks very shippy to me. So, Megastar fans, shout out. That's me. Here I am. And anyway, these are some little art books by the artist Snowy. I absolutely adore the way they do Megastar. I want everything that they produce about Megastar. but this shelf tragically is very bare, and a lot of my stuff is still packed, so I'm going through it little by little. Um, so yeah, this shelf will definitely be way different next time you see it in the 2027 edition of my collection tour. Here is my Transformers Prime collection. Transformers Prime is my favorite Transformers show of all time. Um, Regrettably, when I had my little, I don't really know what to call it, but I ended up selling a whole lot of my figures, and unfortunately, my Prime line, especially the Autobots, suffered the hit. So I lost, well, I didn't lose, but I sold a lot of my figures, and I really, really, really regret it. But anyway, these guys are the ones that are left. And I did get that new red Walmart. I think it was a Walmart exclusive. I'm not sure. I didn't order it from Walmart. I ordered it like off Amazon or something, or eBay, because I don't shop at Walmart if I can help it. But am I alone in wanting like this line updated? Like there's some great figures here, but I feel like we could have better figures of these guys, just in my opinion. Especially Megatron. I adore Megatron. I see that Blockies is making an Optimus, so I'm hoping that they make a Megatron and maybe more to go along with everybody. And we can't forget the cute little custom knockout Keybot made by Shattered Needle. This is the top shelf on the left side of the display. It's kind of scarce in this one because that is all of my figures. So they all have places. And now that I'm this low on room and I still have quite a bit of figures that I want to collect, it's time to think about expansion. But we'll talk about that later. For now, these guys were all made by Shattered Needle. They are plush bots, and they were all the Jazz wasn't custom. I think I bought him at one of the shows that they vended at. But the Robots in Disguise Jazz and the Barricade were both customs. And then over here we have the newly acquired Amalgamus Prime. This toy is so funky looking and I love it. I'm absolutely living for this toy. He's so adorable in my opinion. I cannot wait to get some more primes to go with him. But for now, he is by himself looking after the Plushling trio. I call this the big blocky shelf because it's where all the action class and combiners blockies are going for now until I can fit them in the display better. But there's Blocky Devastator, which I bought used. I did not collect them all. I cheated a little because I wanted him so bad. He's so adorable. And there's my funky G1 Action Class Optimus Prime that I messed the chest plate up on, but that's okay. I still like him. And here's one Orion Pack / Optimus Prime and Action Class G1 Soundwave and his kids. And I'm hoping to get the Megatron pretty soon and Tarn sometime real soon. I'm so excited about Tarn. This, like my Jazz shelf, is one of my favorite displays. This is the Lockdown Nemesis Prime shelf. I love Nemesis Prime, and Lockdown is my favorite Transformer ever. I usually, well, let me refrain. I'm going to answer that in a Q&A, but Lockdown is my favorite Transformer. We'll just say that. I wish he had even more toys to collect of him, especially movie Lockdown. I know not everybody likes the movies, but I do to some degree. But anyway, I have animated Lockdown. I have like three of those. I think one of them was originally my niece's, and she is kind of not as into Transformers anymore as I am, so I kind of took her Lockdown. And then I have one of the repaints. And I have that really cool, I think it's Mastermind Creations, their take on Lockdown. Loved the like fusion of all the different Lockdowns. And here is the Studio Series Lockdown, and I think maybe an Activator or Legends. I have no idea what that is, but it's a cool little Lockdown figure. And the most coolest Lockdown is the Revenge of the Fallen. I believe it was Hunt for the Decepticons. I can't remember the exact line, but I love this Lockdown. And here is like some little Lamborghini models and little Lockdowns, and like the Lego Lockdown, Lego Nemesis Prime. There's Nemi's little lizard friend. That's this Nemi's lizard friend. Knocked him over, my bad. Oh, and here's Blocky's Shattered Glass Optimus Prime. He's evil, so he can go with the Nims. Am I right? I actually need to collect some more of the Shattered Glass Optimus Prime because he fits in so nicely with Nim. But yeah, here's. I keep bumping my microphone. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to wearing one. Anyway, here are all the Nims. So, anytime they release an Optimus Prime, my first question is,
does it come in black?
does it indeed come in black? And I'm super stoked about one of my upcoming videos because I get to reveal one of my holy grails that arrived today as I'm filming this video. Here is another favorite shelf. This is the Decepticon Justice Division shelf. I adore these guys. They are some of my favorite bots. The majority of these in here are by Mastermind Creations, except Tarn and Deathsaurus. Deathsaurus is Planet X, and Tarn is Flame Toys. I did have the original. I think I mentioned in the 2025 collection tour that I did have the original Mastermind Creations Tarn, but I sold it to my best friend because I thought that he like took the cake for the best Tarn at the time, which I was in my weird phase where I'm like, oh, I only need one of every figure, and I'm like kind of kicking myself over selling that as well because I'm like, why can't I have 6 Tarns? You know what I mean? So anyway, they have picked up some other members of their team. My toys have this Shinky, and I can't remember who she came with. I think she came with one of the Justice Division toys, but I can't remember because my memory sucks sometimes. And there is uh, it's either a Figma or Rebel Tech. Might be Rebel Tech. The guy, I don't know what it's from, maybe an anime or something, but it's Suzuki, is what its name is. I can't even remember if it's a little girl robot or a boy, but anyway, it's cute. And then the little crab, the littlest pets, because why not? And Deathsaurus, I ship him in Tarn, so of course he's gonna live with Tarn and his crew because I don't have anybody else for Deathsaurus to go with. So that is why he lives in here with Tarn. If you were here for the 2025 collection tour, this is the slightly altered Krika and Partio shell. That's them right there. and all of their friends. Like I mentioned in that video, I had a toy photo comic way back in the day of my early, when I first got into collecting, of course. I was making that toy photo comic until, adulting got in the way. One day, I swear I'm going to time manage better and I'm going to either continue that thing or I'm going to make a new. Um, because it's so fun to do toy photo comics. I don't care how old you are, if you collect figures of any kind, do yourself a favor, do any kind of little Toy Story esque toy um, story. It's so fun. Anyway, of course, Gilu is the other Bionicle that I love. I did get quite a few Bionicles back in the day, but a lot of them were sold or donated because I lost interest in them. But these two will always have a place in my collection. And one day I will find the other K that goes in the blocks. There's a little Toothless because I love Toothless. I did get my hands on the Studio Series Leader Fallen, which in the story, Fallen and this Shinky were the parents of Partio. So, and then Ravage was his most loyal general and kind of like an uncle. And these girls were like the aunties. So Arnvol, and I call her Raven, and Graphius in the back, and Lily Starf, as I call the little munchkin Starf, and of course the other little Ravages. And that is another. I really suck. I cannot remember if it's Reveltech or Figma, but it's the same as the robot and the DJD shelf. Except this one's the bunny, and I think his name was Jun, if I'm not mistaken. Here is my Blocky shelf. Blockies has literally taken over my life. I love these little guys so much, and I want to collect so many more. That's why there's lots of blank space. But these are all the ones that I've managed to get a hold of, mostly from the One line, because I love that movie. I need them to make a Jazz, though. Hello. And I still can't find a blocky Jazz. I haven't been that lucky to get blocky Jazz of either the small one or that size. But I will keep looking and hoping and praying that they make a One Jazz and also a One Prima to go with his perfect purple husband right there. Here is the villain shelf for my collection. All of these figures were at some point villains in my little toy photo comic or were intended to be villains. So, and of course, Sentinel and Arachnid have joined the party. That little Fallen, he is evil incarnate. He may be cute, but he is absolute evil. And some more Shinkies that were supposedly evil. And even the littlest pets. Yes, the dog littlest pets belong to her. And there is Dragstrip and Fracture. I think I did have the Mirage of that toy, but probably one of the ones I sold. I went through a phase where I guess I like hated Autobots or something except Jazz because I literally got rid of like the majority of my Autobots, as you can tell. And like I said, I really regret it because now I'm stuck with, well, not stuck with, but I have all the Decepticons, but not a whole lot of Autobots. And I called them the Shadow Twins The one with wings was Nemesis Shadow, who was a rival to Nemesis Prime. And then the one without wings was Nova Shadow. And I wanted them to combine into the larger version of that figure. I think they're from like I don't know if it's an anime or what. Somebody more well versed in the world of anything outside of Transformers could probably tell me. But anyway, that is the final shelf in the main display. I call these the desk dwellers. I always like to have little plushies or figures where I have my desk. These little dinosaurs were made by Afternoon FICA. Um, they make little plushies. And I have these two, and then the little cactus cat. Very cute. I don't remember what these guys are, but I have all my favorite Transformers couplings in the Bayverse flavor on my desk, the Wave Waves, Megastar, and Optimus and Ratchet, because I'm a psycho fangirl. And here's Venom, Lego Venom. I found him at the state fair a couple years back at some random vendor's like used toy box. And here is a posable like plushie, I guess, or soft Venom. Can't even remember where I found this guy, but he's so cool. I love him. And then I love the little Tokidoki figures. And these are the little horse Tokidokis. I believe my niece gave me all three of these, or maybe she gave me two and then I bought one. I can't remember. But very cute. Probably wouldn't collect just like a ton of them, but I like little tidbits like that here and there just to keep my collection unique. Moving on to the two bookshelves that are beside my bed. I wanted originally to make like a God, what do they call it? I cannot with words today, you guys. I am just I don't know. It's been like snowmageddon the past couple of days. I haven't been in the real world, haven't hardly left the house, haven't gone to work. So I am just kind of like, what are words at this point? But anyway, let's go through the shelves over here and I will think about what it is that I was trying to say. Maybe a bridge, some kind of bridge over the bed. Anyway, yeah. Starting with the left side of the bed bookshelf, we have some more plushies by the lovely Shattered Needle. That's a big giant jumbo Jazz. And this is Jazzkins, the kitty former. And I call this one Tsute after the James Cameron Avatar dude from the first one. I don't know why the little panda just, I mean, not panda, koala just reminded me. Or like, what? I don't know. It was just a random thing. That's his name, though. He's Jazzkin's best friend, and they always lord over the um, toy lair with the dapper giant Jazz holding his pride flag. Here is another plushie shelf. These plushies, as well as the majority of the plushies in my collection, were made by Shattered Needle. They were customs. That's a movie Lockdown, and that is based on the, I believe the figure is in the Shadow Commander set now, but it was based on like a weird OC situation. I think I talked a little bit about it in my 2025 collection tour, but I loved it so much, and I still do to this day, that I had to have like a custom um, plush made of it. Actually, two. You'll see the other one later. But they always had mismatched eyes because I was obsessed with green and blue mismatched eyes. So this guy has it. And they also made these little beanbag things that went with the miniature plushies, which you'll see in a moment. And they made this custom little kitty former lockdown based on the More Than Meets the Eye lockdown. Very cute. And of course, a little dragon sheen. You will notice on this side, these shelves are kind of unfinished looking, and that's because I am going to customize these shelves with paper or paint. I haven't decided which. And give like each one of these shelves is going to be like a bedroom for the little plushling or whatever toy is in there. This one belongs to this guy. That's Finny, the custom um, Cyberverse Shockwave miniature plush. And these are all his friends. And eventually he will have like a whole, probably kind of a laboratory setup. I don't know. He might be a kitchen setup because Finney is a food scientist. He didn't take the traditional route of the shockwaves, and he decided that food science was his forte. He loves human food. He loves helping in the kitchen and grocery shopping and putting together mad science with food. This, like Finney's, this is Rush and Teddy's. Rush is the jazz figure in there with the custom plushie and the little birdie. Originally, Rush Beats was the Iron Factory Jazz, but I gave him an upgrade recently to the 3-0 Jazz. And he is kind of like the general of my toy lair, Toy story thing. And he basically he vets anybody that comes in the toy lair. He figures out which toys go with who and why, and he confiscates all weapons. And Teddy is the little custom Shattered Needle miniature Jazz, is his little helper. They're best friends. I don't know what's going to go on in here. I just recently got this. It doesn't actually go in here. He's just kind of guarding it, making sure the right person gets in the booth, I guess. Um, but I don't know what their setup will be like yet. I'm just kind of brainstorming like different room ideas. I know he's probably going to have like music notes everywhere, maybe like an entertainment system. But we'll see. We'll see where it takes me. This shockwave took the traditional shockwave mad scientist route, and he has two little pet octopuses. That guy was from Toy Story. Can't remember his name, but that was the Toy Story octopus. I think he ended up being a bad guy. And there's the littlest pet. And these two are some bean butts by Shattered Needle. And they're TFP. And they just kind of hang out with the shockwave. I don't really think that shockwave has any interest in anything other than his sound wave, so they just kind of go wherever as long as they're together. But he likes to think of them as his minions or helpers with his little science stuff, and he's got his little lab coat on. He's ready to go. Definitely going to add decorations and wall decor and stuff for him in there. But for the most part, he's got his little setup and everything is working out just fine for him. Here is my little Black Panther tribute shelf. Black Panther is my favorite Marvel character, and I had to have some cute little representations of him. This is a miscellaneous shelf currently because the light that usually goes up there, the color changing disco ball, whatever you want to call it, light, is still in storage. I'm still trying to get everything in order since I've moved into this bedroom. But there are my some star screams in jet mode. There's a scary crosshairs. I have no idea what that thing is or where it came from, but it's terrifying. And then a little shadow um, bottle that I found at Target that I had to have. In here we have Princess and Bandit. They were made by Shattered Needle. And Princess is the miniature version of that like Nim Scourge creation. OC, not OC. I don't know. It's really complicated. And then Bandit is the cyberverse take on Lockdown. I have, well, I'm pretty sure Shattered Needle started it, but it's all the minis have their own names. Like you can't just call that Lockdown and Scourge or Nemesis Prime. They have to have unique to them names because I don't know. They just have their own little personalities. Just look at them. But yeah, that one's Princess and that one's Bandit. Their room is not quite done, but it's a little further along than some of the others. They at least have some of their furniture. This is Vlad's shelf. Vlad is a custom Bumblebee Nemesis Prime plushie. And the story behind that one is one of my holy grail toys was 3-Zero's Bumblebee Nemesis Prime, but they sold out of both the deluxe version and the premium version, as far as I know. Either that or I just couldn't afford the premium version. But anyway, so I decided to commission them for this little guy because if I couldn't have him as a plastic, why shouldn't I have him as a softie? He's one of my favorite things in my Transformers collection. I love him so much. But he definitely has a habit of picking up gothy, dark, scary things and characters. So Shadow is back there. He's got a little Chucky that he found. He's got Karumi and the Tokidoki Adios guy, and then Gengar, and of course he has his little donkey, and some gothy things I picked up from Michael's on the Halloween time. He's got Steeljaw the dog, Black Cat, little Bot Pumpkin, little Bot Tombstone, and his favorite person in the world, AMK Pro Scourge from Yellow Park. Scourge was originally supposed to be up there with the Rise of the Beast figures and such, but Vlad is not going to let him go anywhere. And when 3-0 lockdown arrives one of these years,
it's been 84 years.
This is a placeholder shelf for Lockdown. 3-0 Lockdown is one of my holy grail toys. He's not the one that arrived that I talked about earlier in this video because he's not out yet. But I am assembling a crew for him because I want him to have his crew. So Sideways is going to be part of his crew, and Widowmaker is going to be part of his crew. Apparently he likes orange bots. And then I have this really cool Lamborghini model car just as like a placeholder for him. And to be honest, I don't know if he will stay in this shelf or if he will inhabit one of the new shelves that I'm thinking about acquiring, because the things that I want to build him are, well, they're not going to fit in this, because like I want to build him his throne captain chair thing, or like a replica diorama of it or whatever. I don't know. I've just got a lot of plans for Lockdown because Lockdown's my favorite and he deserves everything in the world. Here is the soft version of my DJD shelf. Most of these guys were made by Shattered Needle, with the exception of Kaon. He was made by WeFormer. He's so cute. I have a Keybot Voss somewhere, but I'm not sure where he is at this time, and he's kind of like my stand-in Voss plushie until I can either find a suitable Voss or commission one or whatever I need to do. But there's a little Deathsaurus, and sorry for the... Over here in this corner is my gothy stuff, because in addition to Transformers and Shinkies and Littlest Pets, I love all things spooky. I'm a big gothy person, I guess you'd say, alternative person. Love skulls and spiders and spooky things. And these coffin shelves were bought on Etsy. And there's the new Brooklyn gargoyle. He's lonely. Might need to buy some more gargoyles now that I know that you can get the folded wings with them. And that is Jasmine introducing herself. And here is Lockdown introducing himself. But yeah, really cool. Happy with this little setup that I have for all my little gothy stuff. And the lighting is atrocious in my living room, but I have 2 glass display cases, the Detolf IKEA display cases in here filled with some figures. This is the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive DJ Pony with 2 little Legends Blackout from the 2007 movie. This is my little pony shelf. I predominantly collected the Gen 4, and my niece got me this Gen 3 art pony and this Gen 3 art pony because they were so cool. I believe they were exclusive to the Hasbro toy shop. I think it's called Hasbro Pulse now. But yeah, I still to this day, I said in the 2025 collection tour that I was going to rewatch My Little Pony, and I have not done that yet. 2025 was kind of a rough year for me, so I'm very behind on all the nerdy things, but I'm happy to report that it's getting better, and I am happily collecting and enjoying my collection again, because it was kind of shaky for a little while. In here we have Masterpiece, Black Convoy, and Ultra Magnus with their Shinky friends. Down here we have a good representation of the G1 Seekers. Taking up the top shelf of the other side of the Detolf IKEA twin display cases is Hot Toys Venom. This is the only Hot Toys figure that I own as of this time, but I definitely have my eyes on others, especially with the release of the Predator Badlands. And then there's some other like Marvel things that I'd like to have, perhaps. I don't know. Hot Toys are pretty pricey, and I'm not sure if I would spend my money on them or spend my money on pricey Transformers. So, speaking of pricey Transformers, here is 3-0 Premium Starscream. This is my favorite Starscream, believe it or not. I'm a big fan of the Dorito Scream. So I was very, very happy to acquire this figure and all of its glory. And last but not least of the toys, we have a premium 3-0 Last Night Megatron, who is my favorite edition of Bayverse Megatron. Didn't like the Last Night hardly at all, but this is the best thing that came out of that movie. Just a beautiful design. I'm sad that it wasn't utilized more in the film. Poor Megatron has been pretty shafted in all the Bayverse stuff, but we can appreciate this design and his Revenge of the Fallen design. And I do like the Dark of the Moon one as well. Thanks so much for watching my 2026 collection tour. We'll see you next time, Weblings. Bye!